Follow News 1226 on Facebook for the latest up-to-date coverage near you.
From the station that's on your side, this is News 12, first at 4.
13th Street may be getting an upgrade, and you can help make those decisions. We'll have more on what you can do to get involved. But first, a live look at Key West. Although the weather looks okay outside, Tropical Storm Elsa is making its way towards the coast of Florida. First Alert Chief Meteorologist Riley Hale is keeping track of the storm. And Riley, what can we expect to see heading into this week?
Well, the worst conditions from Elsa will be felt along the west coast of Florida through tonight into Wednesday. We're not expecting too bad of impacts from Elsa, but still expected to bring us a good bit of rainfall, possibly even a little bit of wind to counties south and east of Augusta and Richmond County. Here's a closer look at Elsa. This is just off the west coast of Florida. This is making its way further towards the north at about 9 miles an hour. It is just on the verge of becoming a hurricane, and with this next update we're anticipating from the National Hurricane Center, we'll likely see it upgraded to a hurricane as that Hurricane Hunter aircraft continues to just analyze it and bring in some more data. So this is the latest update as of 2 p.m. They are now anticipating Elsa to strengthen back up to a Category 1 hurricane before making landfall somewhere around the Big Bend of Florida late tonight into early Wednesday morning. Now, Wednesday 8 p.m. to Thursday 8 a.m. This is our time frame to when we're expecting the worst impacts from Elsa. So late Wednesday into early Thursday. Remember, once this storm gets over land, it's going to weaken rapidly. So we're not expecting too intensive system by the time Elsa arrives, at least in the way of wind, but it's still going to be producing torrential rainfall across the region. Here's a closer look at radar. You can see that torrential rain stretching from Tampa all the way to Miami. We'll have a look at our impacts we're expecting here coming up in that first alert forecast, just about 10 minutes.
Thanks so much, Riley. This is a live look at Florida State Park thanks to EarthCam. The rain is kind of starting up, and that hurricane watch is in effect for parts of Florida's coast as the tropical storm moves closer to making landfall. Maximum winds are around 60 miles per hour, but they could strengthen before it comes ashore early tomorrow morning. There's also potential for isolated tornadoes. Bo Zimmer is in Florida with the latest.
Intense rain and strong winds battered Key West Tuesday as Tropical Storm Elsa makes its way up the Gulf Coast. But the rough waters weren't enough to deter a few fishermen in the area. In addition to the wind and rain, there's concern about flooding and storm surge.
You will see flash flooding conditions in many parts of Florida as this thing moves through.
Governor Ron DeSantis told Floridians along the coast to get ready.
Be prepared to be without power for a few days and having enough food and water for each person and their family, including for your pets.
In Tampa, people filled sandbags ahead of the storm, while in Sarasota County, some couldn't resist the waves. What's the goal today?
Get some good surf.
Here in Sarasota County, people are closely watching the tide. When it comes in, it could bring with it a storm surge of up to 3 to 5 feet. The stormy conditions are also impacting search and rescue efforts at the condo collapse in Surfside.
The wind is hampering the large cranes moving very heavy debris.
At one point, lightning temporarily forced the search to stop. Officials say they have personnel from the Weather Service embedded with the rescue teams to stay on top of any changes that could impact the work. Bo Zimmer, CBS News, Sarasota County, Florida.
And here's another live look thanks to EarthCam of Florida State Parks. Even though those crazy conditions out there happening right now in Florida, search teams were able to recover 4 more victims overnight, bringing the death toll to 32. Here at home, changes could be coming soon to 13th Street Bridge. The bridge connects North Augusta and Augusta, but now GDOT wants to make it better, not just for cars, but for people who bike and walk these trails. Our Celeste Springer is live there now. Celeste, break down what we're looking at.
Well, GDOT is looking for your input on the new bridge plans that they have. Let me show you one component that they have in mind. This is Bartram Trail, and if you want to head over to North Augusta, well, too bad. There is no sidewalk over here, so you got to turn around, go all the way down that way, cross over at Reynolds Street, then cross over and head down the bridge. The new plans will add a new sidewalk to the east side here, creating an access from Bartram Trail to North Augusta. More importantly, however, they're adding an underpass below the bridge connecting the trail to the Augusta Canal. People will be able to walk and ride without having to leave the trails like they do now. They're also widening extending the sidewalk that's currently on the west side of the bridge to 10 feet. Right now, it is a pretty tight squeeze. And if you have any questions or thoughts, well, GDOT is looking to hear from you.
All those comments will be received. They'll be analyzed by our environmentalists, our historians, our project engineers, and responses will actually come back. That whole response recap will be posted on the website as well. Folks are curious on what others may have asked about, and generally all the questions are going to be answered.
And coming up at 6 o'clock, I'm working on a full story about this, taking a closer look at all the plans, as well as we'll be telling you how you can give them your feedback on the plans for the new bridge.
Thanks so much, Celeste. Looking at those plans, it looks phenomenal. It's going to be amazing when they actually do this, and certainly safer for everyone. Thanks, Celeste. 2 people were injured after a Baltimore, Maryland home collapsed on them this morning. When firefighters arrived, they saw a 3-story building had partially collapsed with people stuck inside. The 2 people stuck were contractors. One is in serious condition and the other had no life-threatening injuries after the chimney of the house collapsed. Originally, the 2 were there to help with renovations on the home. First at 4, a man is charged with murder after a shooting in Denmark, South Carolina. Kelsey Gilbert is charged with murder and attempted murder. Police say Gilbert fired into a car early Monday morning while a woman was driving. The victim, Shakira Waymyers, was hit. She then crashed into a utility pole and died. Gilbert is also charged with attempting to murder another person. We're learning the identity of the man who was arrested in connection to a shooting over the weekend in Emmanuel County. Investigators arrested Dallas Clark on multiple charges, including aggravated assault, murder. On Saturday, Swainsboro police responded to Bird Sports Bar and Lounge. There, they found 1 person had been shot. 3 others were hurt and taken to the hospital. At last check, one of the victims was still in the hospital, but stable. 2 children could be charged in the death of a man fatally shot while driving a tractor. Oconee County Sheriff's Office say that Danny Smith was reported missing and later his wife found him on his tractor. Detectives said Smith died from a gunshot wound to the back and the case has been ruled a homicide. Smith's family are heartbroken over what happened to their loved one.
We were just devastated and heartbroken because he is such a precious man. Never would harm anyone. Everyone loved him.
Right now, investigators are looking into what happened, but they do not believe there is a threat to the public at this moment. July 4th weekend marks the midpoint of the 100 deadly days of summer, where South Carolina Highway Patrol reports increased accidents and fatalities with an uptick of travelers on the road. Madeline Stewart has more on what SC Patrol is doing to lower those numbers.
Aggressive driving, we're trying to curtail that. Some of the main things that are leading up to the causes of our collisions are driving under the influence, driving too fast for conditions, and failure to yield the right of way.
Tidwell says the busy 4th of July weekend usually results in more accidents and fatalities because many people are traveling, but there are a variety of other reasons for the uptick. He says people are getting out after the pandemic, students are out of school, and lots of people are going on vacation, and all that contributes to the rise in accidents. Trooper Brian Lee says increased highway patrol presence has already made a positive change in driver awareness.
I spoke to somebody a while ago and they were like, man, I went to Atlanta and I was on I-20 going to Atlanta and it seemed like troopers had somebody stop every 2 or 3 miles, east and west. I mean, so I think it makes a difference.
He says this is a good thing because it lets drivers know highway patrol is there and serves as a reminder to drive safely. During the summer, the rise in traffic can cause frustration and aggressive driving, but troopers say there are ways to keep yourself and those around you safer.
Reduce your speed. We want you to arrive alive. You know, the faster you go, the faster things happen. Also, limit distractions. I know a lot of people are using Snapchat and TikTok nowadays, but that can wait. Don't drink and drive. There's so many options out there. Uber, Lyft, or get a friend to drive you.
Lee says Highway Patrol is here to enforce the law, and they're also here to help.
Anytime somebody was broke down beside the road, flat tire, out of gas, whatever it may be, we're here to try to help and do whatever we can to make it convenient and as simple as possible for people to travel.
If you need help while traveling, SC Highway Patrol say to dial star HP to reach them or just call 911. Well, check this out. The world's hot operate. Still ahead, after a tough year of remote learning, kids and parents are looking ahead to the fall. How schools are already preparing to get students back on track next.
And we are keeping an eye on Tropical Storm Elsa, which could become a hurricane again before landfall later tonight. Update on that storm and its impacts here coming up.
Injured? Call Austin Jackson, the Augusta guy. The best way to choose a law firm is to listen to the clients they've helped.
Austin Jackson gets things done.
They are a great law firm, so kind and helpful.
They gave the best service and got me the best settlement.
I highly recommend them to anyone. If you need a real lawyer, call Austin Jackson.
The reviews are real. Helping injured people in Georgia and Carolina is what we do. Call Austin Jackson, the Augusta guy, 706-724-2661.
Join Holiday Week. You can attend a virtual travel show or call 888-557-1020 for a free brochure.
This is video from this morning of Tropical Storm Elsa beginning to hit the Florida Keys. You can see lots of wind, rain, and flooding just coming in from big waves on the beach. As the storm nears Florida, hurricane warnings are all over the Florida peninsula, but you can already see some flooding happening there. Just frightening video. I mean, hopefully Elsa does not bring heavy damage. And here's what parts of the Florida Keys look like right now. The rain has stopped for the moment, but we can see those palm trees being battered by the wind. Riley, this is certainly not a time you want to be outside or near on the beach.
Absolutely not. There in the Keys, they actually did report a gust earlier today up to hurricane force, and the center of Elsa is now moving off towards our north, so they're going to start seeing improving conditions. But opposite effect for us, the storm is yet to hit us, and we are still anticipating the worst impacts from Elsa to be felt here locally in the Sea Asteroid to start mainly late Wednesday into early Thursday morning. Here's the latest look at it on Doppler Max radar. Are still producing some torrential rainfall on the east side of this center along the west coast of Florida, stretching from Tampa all the way to Fort Myers and even South Florida near the Everglades, Miami. They're dealing with some of those rain bands moving on shore as well. Elsa is still a tropical storm, but we could see it bumped up to a hurricane before landfall is anticipated later tonight and before sunrise Wednesday. Here's a look at the cloud cover with it. You can see the west side of the system hasn't really developed as much as the east side, so it's not perfectly symmetrical, but despite those, I guess, hindrances to it, it is trying to strengthen a little bit, and the National Hurricane Center is on board for this system to become a Category 1 system once again before making that landfall around the Big Bend of Florida right around early Wednesday morning. Going to continue to see those conditions decrease throughout the day Wednesday as this system continues to move off towards the north and east. Our worst impacts from Elsa are expected between 8 p.m. Wednesday and 8 a.m. Thursday. So as the center is closest to our region, that's when we're going to see the heaviest rainfall. Counties south and east of I-20 potentially could see some gusty conditions, but our threat for tropical storm force winds is very low, not even really anticipated for most of us. So it's really going to be another heavy rain event. This is our third tropical system already this year that's going to impact us. And once again, not looking like much of a wind threat, mainly just bringing us the threat of a few inches of rain. And potentially some of our counties south and east of I-20 here could get between 1 to 3, possibly even up to 4 in a few places. So let's play it out for you hour by hour. Through this evening, we'll have the chance for a few isolated downpours, but most of us do look dry this evening into tonight and the first half of our Wednesday. The rain threat is going to start picking up as we continue throughout the day Wednesday. Here's after lunchtime, already starting to see some of those outer rain bands. And where you see this heavy rainfall later tomorrow afternoon in the model here, that's where some of those stronger winds could mix down to the surface. So some of those squalls could produce some gusty winds at times Wednesday afternoon. But here's the worst of it, folks. This is after sunset Wednesday. You can see our southern and eastern counties, at least if you're south and east of I-20 right here, that's where the worst of those impacts are expected. So places like Allendale, Barnwell, Bamberg, Sylvania, Millen, Waynesboro, Aiken, you're even included in this as well. Augusta, we're going to be right here on the cusp, so a little subtle change in track could definitely impact our forecast here locally in Augusta and bring up our rain chances and potentially maybe even wind threat. But as of right now, the majority of this rain will fall as you head to bed Wednesday, and by the time you wake up Thursday morning, the center of this storm is now moving to our north and to our east. Now, in the wake of this storm, we're still expecting more showers and storms to form Thursday afternoon, so that's why we're keeping that first alert in effect for mainly the threat of very heavy rainfall. The Weather Prediction Center has included at least half of our coverage coverage area underneath this slight risk, so we're expecting the potential for moderate flash flooding across the area. If you live in a flood-prone area south and east of I-20, definitely stay on alert as we head into tomorrow night and early Thursday. As we head past Thursday, as Elsa is long and gone, we start to just get back into our normal summer pattern. Low temperatures in the low 70s, highs mid to low 90s, and pop-up storms most afternoons.
Thanks so much, Riley. With most students learning remote for the majority of last year, many felt they were left behind. Now, as Tricia Hendricks reports, some are scrambling to get back on track before the fall semester.
The sound of music coming from a classroom at Maryville High School echoing through the halls. The synchronized notes played perfectly on these instruments, paired with the voices accompanying them.
It was really weird at first, because I remember we were just online. I haven't heard anyone else play in a year. It's really nice.
Senior and drum major Daniel Moten says he made the most of the pandemic, but it put others behind.
Kind of lost touch with their instrument. They didn't get a chance to pick it up from the school.
His teacher Mike Dominguez just thankful to be back in class.
It really did take a toll on me being away from my kids,
Across campus, a JROTC class practicing and learning skills in person they haven't been able to since before the COVID crisis.
During online classes, I would just tend to goof off. But when I came back to school, in person, when I looked at my grades, I actually dramatically improved.
Sophomore Marisol Mayberry says being back on campus has dramatically changed her attitude and grades.
It's good all around.
They're just a couple of the more than 800 students trying to make up for lost learning and to get up to speed before going back for the fall semester. And with the right tone, success is in the works in 36 classes and workshops students are attending at Maryvale High School. In-person learning bringing tears to the eyes of some.
Not that they saw us, but yeah, the human-to-human, interaction. And not only is it just good for instruction, but it's just good for us.
Teachers and students alike making up for lost learning and time during the pandemic.
It brings a whole kind of a revitalization.
Oh, that's so great. And you can just see those teachers and students are just happy to be back together because there's just some things you can't do online. Social interaction, very important for sure. Well, still ahead, teachers are trying to make sure that the focus is back on learning after the pandemic held them back. What the plan is this school year. Next on Positive Parenting.
Are you too hot? Beat the summer heat with a window AC unit from Davis Appliance and Furniture for as low as $299. We offer a cool, no credit needed financing options to meet your needs. For the brands you trust at the lowest prices in town, visit us at Davis Appliance and Furniture.
Is your credit score getting in the way of things?
Only from Maybelline, New York. Welcome to Davis Appliance and Furniture, where you can find the best deals in town. We offer new and used appliances, and we service what we sell. We offer no credit needed financing and delivery options to meet your needs. For the top brands at the lowest prices in town, visit us at Davis Appliance and Furniture.
The Live by Camera Network is brought to you by
Warm in the winter for over 60 years, and now in your car too.
Enter to win your first alert Weather Auto Sunshade at WRDW.com. Tune to First at 5 Tuesdays and Thursdays to see if you're a winner.
The pandemic has made it difficult for teachers to create successful learning environments. A study finds that new approaches to teaching can make a difference. Nancy Alvarez has more on schools returning to normalcy.
The COVID pandemic has dramatically affected how students learn.
On our desk, we have shields. They're plastic shields that are see-through so we can see everything.
If somebody gets COVID, they have to be quarantined, so a lot of people haven't shown up some days.
Teachers across the country have also missed out on professional learning events that introduce new strategies. In a study, scientists tested an online evidence-based approach on over 100 teachers. The strategy encourages educators to prioritize certain learning methods, with peer interactive learning being the most important. Education scientists find that when ICAP is successfully executed, students thrive. Teachers, even homeschooling parents, can use interactive and constructive strategies by asking deep, open-ended questions when introducing a new idea. Some examples are, what do you think of your partner's ideas? How did you decide? Or what might happen? It's a technique that prompts students to use critical thinking skills, which leads to better learning. I'm Nancy Alvarez reporting.
With the ICAP learning model approach, passive learning is considered the least effective. This is the traditional style of paying attention or receiving information from instructional materials without doing anything else related to learning. Riley.
Well, we do a first alert in effect Wednesday night into Thursday morning. That is from Elsa. We'll have a look at that 7-day forecast coming up.
And fireworks weren't the only thing shining in the sky. The sun had a solar flare-up that's very hard to miss. We're going to show you more next.
Follow News 1226 on Twitter to keep informed with the latest happening near you.
All right, take a look at this. The sun decided to put on a fireworks show of its own. The biggest solar flare in years caught all on camera. NASA captured the moment by their Solar Dynamics Observatory. There they classified the flare as an X-class eruption, which are the most powerful. The last major eruption happened back in 2017, but definitely some cool visuals that NASA provided. NASA's always looking out for all of us here on Earth that may not have caught this. So thank you for them for sharing these pretty cool pictures.
Yeah, the solar flares are always crazy to see, and yeah, luckily for the space agency to actually monitor those, that's how we can see the northern lights sometimes, just those blasts, and that's what will create a little bit of energized material in our magnetic field that creates those northern lights. Pretty cool stuff. All right, here's the amount of rainfall we're anticipating from Elsa as we head into Wednesday night and through Thursday. We're expecting our southern and eastern counties to receive the most rainfall, 2 to 4 inches highlighted in red here, so that includes places like Jenkins, Screven, Allendale, Barnwell, Bamberg counties. For us here around Augusta and anywhere north of I-20, our rain totals are looking to be closer to an inch and even less than that the further north you go. So it's really south and east of I-20 to where the real bullseye is going to be for the heaviest rain totals. And the tropical storm wind speeds just not really anticipated for us. There's about a 20 to 30% chance some of our southern and eastern counties could see up to those tropical storm force winds, but it just looks unlikely for most of us, especially since Elsa will be well inland and staying overland for a good while before it does reach us. But a first alert is in effect Wednesday night and Thursday for that threat of heavy rainfall as Elsa moves through.
Thanks so much, Riley. We're going to have more news and weather here on First at 4 after a quick break. Don't go anywhere.
This is the